Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 12th and final ICT Footprint.eu webinar. My name is Rita Menezes, and we are going to present this webinar entitled Hand-on Green IT, Use Tools, Obtain Certification, and Implement Policy Action Plans. We are actually very excited with today's webinar, not only because it's our 12th webinar, but also due to the fact it's our final one after a webinar series that started back in 2016. So the journey was long, and we are very excited to close this nice pathway we did during the last 3 years. But before we start with the webinar, I would like to introduce our speakers. So firstly, we are going to start with Bert. He is the founding member and partner of Green IT Switzerland and Green IT Plus, and he's based in Switzerland. Then it's my turn. I'm Rita Menezes. I'm project manager and marketing analyst and researcher at Trust IT Services. Actually, I'm replacing Silvana Musella. She is the CEO of Trust IT Services and the project coordinator of ICTFOOTPRINT.eu. But due to last minute complications, unfortunately she is not able to join us. So I'm doing this presentation in her behalf. And to conclude, we'll have Frédéric Croisson. He is a manager at Deloitte Sustainability, based in Paris, and he is also a partner of ICTFootprint.eu, working with us since the beginning of the project. So for those who joined us today for the first time and are actually not familiar with what is ICTFootprint.eu, ICT Footprint is a European Commission funded project, 36 months long. And the reason why the European Commission wanted to fund the project like ICT Footprint was because they wanted us to raise awareness on metrics and methodologies that already exist and available in the market to be implemented that will help ICT players to become more energy efficient and increase the sustainability levels of their ICT. And besides that, there are already many best practices that were already put in place by different stakeholders, and we are also promoting them in the website so people can get inspiration and see how these players are getting competitive advantages thanks to Green IT. All in all, we are here basically to help you become low carbon in ICT and increase your levels of energy efficiency. The project has 3 partners. One is Trust IT Services. We are the coordinator of the project, and we are based in Tuscany, Italy. Then we have Deloitte. They are our partner with the technical expertise, and they are based in Paris. And last, we have Eurocities based in Belgium, which is a network of European cities who are interested into making their cities greener, especially those who are embracing the smart cities approach. So, and since the project started 3 years ago, we are very proud of the results we achieved so far. We were able to pull together over 5,000 community members who are very interested in this topic. We also have a nice marketplace with a list of suppliers, 30 for the moment, that can help you to become green IT thanks to their sustainable services. We also have 2 self-assessment tools known as SATO and SATEST. They are free and available to everyone, and they will help you to calculate your carbon footprint in your IT. And we also have a certification scheme, which I will present later on in this webinar. Plus, as I already mentioned, we have 66 success stories on Green IT, so you can check them out. They are organized by stakeholders, and you can have an idea what you have been missing if you did not embrace the Green IT approach. Then we have a very nice result called the Map of ICT Methodologies. This is a very nice map, and why? Because we pulled together the most relevant and important ICT standards and methodologies that help you to become green in IT. And for each one of them, we pulled out 20 fact sheets that explain you with an easy language what's the purpose and the application of those methodologies. If you are fond of webinars and this is the 12th one, so you are wondering, oh my God, I already missed 11. No worries. We have all the other previous webinars available in ICT Footprint's YouTube account. They are open and free. You just need to check them out and you enjoy. So this is what we have been doing so far. Well, this slide, I'm not going much into detail once again. The slide kind of summarizes the services we have available to you. We have the marketplace for suppliers. We have those stories, the certification scheme, the tools, and also the map. So you just need to choose which service you want to explore. And soon we'll have available the ICT Footprint Policy Action Plan and Sustainability Roadmap. He'll be available in the website in the following months, but my colleague Frederick is going to introduce this roadmap and present some insights, and so you can have an idea what kind of information you will find as soon as the report will be available. One last slide before we start our presentation. So the community we were able to pull together, it's very wide. We have experts and people interested on this topic from different backgrounds. We have from SMEs, large companies, standard development organizations, non-profit organizations, and other individuals that have been supporting us in spreading the words and also have been benefiting from our services and activities. So now let's start with the real webinar. That's why we are all here together. So let's start with Bert. He is the founding member of Green IT Switzerland and a partner at Green IT Plus. He is a software engineering and an environmental consultant focusing on sustainable ICT procurement, operational, and disposal. He is also the developer of the assessment and catalog tools presented in the ICT in this webinar. In fact, Green IT Switzerland, they have been developing generic web applications for assessments and catalogs, and which have been used to provide data centers, self-assessment, and catalogs to measure the increase of ICT sustainability. And Bert is going to present his tools. He's going to explain to us why and how they were made, what features they offer, and also how they are used in practice. So Bert, I pass the floor to you. Good luck, and we are looking forward to listening to your presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to dive right in, telling you a little bit about Green IT Switzerland. So Green IT Switzerland was founded in 2010 as Green IT Special Interest Group of the Swiss Informatics Society. It's quite a long name, so we're rebranding at the moment. I'm going to refer to the Special Interest Group as Green IT Switzerland. So we are a not-for-profit forum for ICT and environmental protection professionals, and our goal is to make people, organizations, and administrations aware of sustainable ICT. We try to influence politicians and provide green IT education. We do this by publishing tools, which you are going to see shortly, and information that we gather from our members. Being Swiss, we try to be neutral, so we don't promote specific solutions by any vendor. Green IT Switzerland is also a founding member of the Green IT Global Collaboration Network, together with green IT organizations from France, Amsterdam, and London. If anybody is interested to hear more about those, please contact me. So the actual purpose of my presentation is demonstrating the tools. So this is just an overview slide. It shows roughly that what you see today is the result of 9 years of development, gathering experience, and redevelopment of the tools. I'd like to point out the right column here on this slide. Energie Schweiz, there is not an English translation, it's Energy Switzerland basically. That's an organization of the Swiss federal government. They are also using our tools in a campaign to promote energy efficiency in server rooms and data centers. We are very proud that we were part of the team that created this campaign and that it uses our tools and also our green IT know-how. So now let's go to the demo. I'm going to start with the catalog of measures. So the idea here is to present solutions for people on how they can improve their ICT sustainability. We have two kinds of catalog of measures. This one is the general one, and we also have one which is specific for data centers. So what you can see here, here's the list. You can scroll, you can open up and get more detailed description of the tool, of the measure. And it also shows the impact and the effort that you need to put in when you want to realize or put in place that measure. We also have this impact and effort bars right here, so you can easily see what impact a certain measure has and how long it takes to implement it. So for example, this one, communication plan, it requires a larger time frame to get it done. So one problem with the catalog of measures is how do you sort it? So it's sorted by title of the measure, which means that in the end you have all kinds of measures quite in an unordered way, not in a logical way. So this is why we implemented filters, so that you can see specific measures for one topic. We have categories. We can, for example, here I can take printer. That's a good one always. Then you'll just see all measures related to printing. We can say life cycle. Let's see what we can do when we procure printers. And we also have different audiences. So for individual persons, small enterprise, medium enterprise, and large enterprise. We can also filter on the impact. So if I want to see just the ecological impact of measures which have an ecological impact, then I choose this one. And in the end, I can also say I would just like to see, let's say, the low-hanging fruits which have a shorter time frame to implement and also not so much cost. Take no. So the one which had higher cost is removed from the list. So much for the catalog of measures. This was our very first tool. After a while, we realized that it's still quite hard for people to go without any prior knowledge to go to such open such a website and try to find out what might be good for them. So we decided to create the assessment tool, which in the end shows you where you could improve your ICT sustainability. So the second tool is data center assessment, which I can show very briefly. So we have navigation here. We have sections and subsections. The green ones here are the ones which are filled out already. The gray ones with the arrow are still to be done. So company information is just general information about the data center. Then we have strategy and organization questions. For example, in strategy, it shows these questions. The assessment basically is based on the idea of maturity model. So for most questions, we have 5 different answers plus 2 which is not relevant, and I cannot answer this question, but usually it's 5 or 6 different maturity levels which are assigned to these options which you can select. So if I haven't done anything regarding green IT strategy, then I'm on maturity level 0, then 1, and if I take this answer, then I would be really good. And I get the biggest score for this question. Let's look at some energy management questions. This is about measurement of energy. If I want to know more about this question, have a little bit more context, then I can click this button, and it shows me some background information regarding this question. And if I want to see what measures relate to this question, then I can click this one, and it opens up a new tab in the browser, and we have this single measure which is related to that question. Go back to the assessment. So I just click these here. Then this measurement page has turned green. I do some evaluation. And then we also have filled the energy management part. So I quickly go to the evaluation now. We have the basic evaluation, which shows at the moment I have 29 out of 67 questions answered, and my score is 26% of the maximum possible score. And you can see for each section, you can see if I'm good or not so good. So obviously red is bad, green would be quite good, very good, and yellow is something in between. If I do the detailed evaluation, I get to see for each section the questions which I answered and the answer which I gave, and also the amount of points that I scored for that question. So as you can see here, questions are weighed. So when we designed the assessment, we tried to put a weight on each section and each question. So some questions, if you get a better score, are more important than others. Something very important to say here is that this tool runs in your browser only, and it doesn't communicate with any server. So we did this because large data center operators, they're not keen that anybody knows anything about their operation. So we really made it in a private mode. The data is stored in the browser. You can export it and import it later if you want to. So I guess I should go to the last tool, which I wanted to show briefly. So this data center assessment, which we just saw, is very complicated. It takes many hours to fill it out, and it also takes many people potentially to provide all the answers. For the Energy Switzerland campaign, we wanted to do something easier to get people started. So we created this energy check, and I'll just click through it. We have simple questions. We have immediate feedback. If I click on yes or no, if I say no, then it gives some information about the potential of doing something in this area. So this one is 11 pages. And in the end, you get this type of scoreboard, which shows you how good you are and with regard to green IT and where you could improve, in which areas of your IT infrastructure you could improve. I could change the answers now, and it would adapt here, this graph. So I think my time is up. Let's go back to Rita then.
Hi, yes, I'm here. Thank you very much for your presentation. Actually, these two seems quite nice, very interactive. You have different fields, and you can actually decide what kind of result you want to check it out. So, good job. I think it's a very nice result of your effort that you pulled together. Actually, I have a question, but before I'm going to share a question from one of our attendees, from Alex Burdell. I know Alex, he was speaking in the previous webinar. He's involved with the Sustainability for London initiative. So Alex's question, Bert, is this: what data are you collecting and how do you exploit the data to support a wide point of view?
Sorry, I didn't understand the second part of the question.
So Alex's question is, the first part is, what data are you collecting? And the second part is, how do you exploit the data to support a wide viewpoint?
Okay, so you can actually configure what kind of data that you collect. As I said, with the big assessment, we do not collect anything. This is done on purpose. Now, for this energy check, which I showed last, we actually collect all the answers that users click. And we also basically click which pages they opened. So we had two reasons for doing this. The first one is we wanted to see how well this energy check was received by people. So, for example, in the very first version, we made the entry of address information mandatory. And people didn't really like it, because I could see from the log file that they just went through all the question pages until the last one where you have to add private stuff, and then they didn't go any further. So, and this was kind of bad for them, because I mean, you want to know how good you are, you want to see this evaluation screen. So we actually adapted the energy check after finding out this behavior of the users. And we also collected the answers, and we did some statistical analysis, and we provided the people who gave their email address with a graphical representation of their result compared to all the other results.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, I think your reply was clear. Another thing that I forgot to tell our attendees that if you want, you can submit questions in the chat, or even if you have more questions to Bert, or even for me or to Frederick, and there's no time to address in the webinar, you can write on the chat or drop or send an email, and we'll come back to you. Maybe before I start my presentation, there's one thing that I was thinking about. For instance, in ICT Footprint website, we have a section with a list of tools that are available in the market that help people to calculate the energy consumption and so on. And now we also have this tool you just presented. So what I was thinking was, how is this tool innovative compared to the others that are already available there? Why is this one exciting compared to what's there?
This is a difficult question. I would say we were first. So actually, I'm not quite aware of all the other tools which exist. To be honest, this one is just we built it ourselves, and it just serves our purpose. And I think everybody who sees these evaluations, energy check and energy assessment, they just think it's very good, nice. And I think really one important thing is the private mode. You don't have to be registered on any website in order to use this.
Okay, so it's user friendly, and that's a very important part. Yeah, okay. Actually, we are going to list this tool in our website as well, so you'll be promoted next to all the others that are available in our list. So for everyone who's online, you have the email available. So if you have any more questions, feel free to drop by an email, and Bert will be happy to help you out. So thank you very much for your presentation.
I'd like to just add one thing. If you look at the slides, I have some more actually. So very important. This tool is basically open source. So if anybody wants to use it, then please contact me, and I will help you out definitely.
Yeah, we are now showcasing some your slides at some links already available for people to check if they want to know more. German, French, and Italian. The last link.
The last one.
And exactly. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for your time. Now it seems it's my turn. So yeah, for those who are not familiar with me, I'm Rita Menezes, a marketing specialist in communication in international environments, and I've been focused on spreading the message as informative as possible to the right audience through websites, social media, and other stakeholder engagement activities. So my presentation is going to be focused on the ICT Footprint.eu Light Certification Scheme, which was developed in partnership with eChim. And this scheme basically certifies the organization current level of carbon footprint that was generated by the ICT usage. But first, before I start explaining and giving more details about this certification, I think it's important to provide kind of a background. So as you know, many IT players, they want to become energy efficient, but they don't know how to start, and they don't know from who they can ask for help. So we have the online marketplace where we already made your desktop research for you. We have a list of 30 companies for the moment who have sustainable IT services that can help you out to become green in IT. So this is a nice start. But another important detail is to, I want to become green in IT, but I don't know how much green I am for the moment. So it's important for you to have this kind of idea and do this analysis. So before contacting maybe suppliers, you can do your own self-assessment. We have a tool called SAT-O, which is a free and simple tool to calculate the overall carbon footprint of your organization. And the tool will help you to make informed decisions on how to become more sustainable. And it's very easy to use. You can access by clicking on the link that is available on the screen. And at the end, you'll get your customized reports giving you some tips on how to become more energy efficient in IT. So as soon as you have an idea how is your sustainability levels, and before contacting suppliers, it's also important for companies to have a kind of certification that confirms that you are a green IT company. And this is why we created the ICT Footprint Light Certification Scheme, which is a tool that has as you can see in our payoff, that helps you to be green, to begin your green IT journey. It certifies the level carbon footprint from ICT on your organization. The tool was launched last December in Vienna during the ICT 2018 during the networking session, and is now available to you all. And you may ask, okay, but why we created this certification for carbon footprint and how does it work? Very simple. We created this tool to incentivize companies to consider the adoption of energy efficient procedures to lower the carbon footprint and also get competitive advantages. Actually, the competitive advantages it's not just to embrace and to become a social responsible organization. There are many studies that confirm that the millennial generation, they are willing and they are looking forward to hire services from companies who are who have some kind of social responsibility. So having a certification like this will actually gives you competitive advantage. In a way, it increases the chances of being selected from potential customers. And how this tool works, it's very easy. It works mostly online. So it's an online service that is fully delivered remotely right from your desk. And what do you get at the end? Oh, it's already, well, it's clear that you get a certification at the end, but this document will certify the positioning of your current organization carbon footprint compared to the average that we can find in Europe. So it will tell if you are above, below, or very close to the 95th percentile. The tool, the certification is available at an affordable price. It will depend how big is your organization and the kind of views you have on ICT. And we have three identities involved. First, we have ISHIN, which is a certification authority. This company is based in Italy, and they are leaders on certifications that are related to renewable energies and energy efficiency. So we are very happy that we had this kind of partnership with them. Then we have Trustworthy Services, who is a platform provider. And another nice thing we have, and we highly recommend to all of you to check them out. We did a partnership with WeForest. They are a non-profitable organization who is fighting against global warming. And the partnership we made with them is that for each certification we issue, 5 trees will be planted in Brazil to fight against the global warming. So yeah, so we believe this is a very nice, interesting tool that you should check it out, and it's easy to be used. So how will you obtain your certification? Very easy. First, you need to register in the ICT Footprint website. You just need to log in, and then you need to go straight to the ICT Footprint Light Certification Scheme Access. As soon as you are, for example, you can see my name. I use me as an example. When you are in this section, you click on Begin Your Certification Workflow. Then you need to fill in some prerequisites in order to help eShim to understand your profile and to provide you a quote. As you fill in these fields, you click on Request Quotation, and then as you can see, you have a quote which you can accept or not. As soon as you accept, you click on that, and you are able to download your quotation that was provided in eShim, and you are ready now to start for real your green IT certification process. What's next? So there are 4 simple steps. First, you have to fill in a self-assessment page through an online questionnaire, and this self-assessment is very similar to the one that you will find in the SATO. So for those already filling the SATO, you'll find something very similar to what you already deal with in the past. Second, there will be a more interactive phase where you will be requested to submit some basic documentations about your IT equipment, and this documentation will be analyzed by eShim. The third step, as soon as eShim checks the documentation that was submitted by you, it's very likely they will organize a conference call with you for a follow-up and also to discuss some details about the ICT usage in your company. After these discussions, the eShim will perform an analysis, and at the end you'll get your own certification. And what was your effort? Just a few hours on your part, which will be spread over a few days, and the rest of the work will be done by eShim experts. So this is an example of the certification you will receive. At the end, you'll have your name. It will be indicated that thanks to this certification, you contributed to fight against the global warming thanks to the partnership with WeForest. And there is a link for you to access the certification, and this PowerPoint will be available in the webinar webpage, but if you want, you can go directly to the website. We have a banner in the homepage, so it's very easy to access the tool. And this is it. So if you have more questions about the Light certification scheme, you have my email on the screen. Drop me an email, and me and my partners from Deloitte and Eurocity will be happy to help you. I think there are not questions from the audience. So I think we are ready to pass the floor to Frederick. So he can start his presentation. So Frederick Croisson, he's a manager at Deloitte Sustainability, an institution specialized in research and consultancy in the field of environmental informational products, and have as an expertise as primary expertise the life cycle assessments domains. And Deloitte, they kind of offer a wide range of services that cover the entire life cycle of environmental informational products and service to expert and non-expert audience. So in Frederick, in his presentation, he's going to provide some insights from the ICT Footprint Policy Action Plan and Sustainability Roadmap with a list of recommendations and actions to support sustainable and green IT market development across Europe. Frederick, are you ready to start with your presentation?
Yes, hi to everybody. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your PowerPoint. We don't see, now it's on presentation mode. Yeah, everything is good now.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Rita.
Go ahead.
As Rita introduces me, I'm Frederick Croisson from Deloitte, and I'm working since the beginning on the ICT Footprint.eu project. During this project, the main idea of the project, as Rita already presented you in her presentations at the beginning in introduction, the main idea of the project was to try to overcome barriers to the adoption of ICT footprint calculation methodologies among the European ICT sector. In 2012, we made a previous study showing that some methodologies were existing in order to calculate or estimate the environmental impact on the environmental footprint of ICT organization or services or goods, but only few stakeholders, a few actors of the market at this time were aware of those methodologies. Hence, we come up with the idea of the ICT project in order to communicate and to make some awareness raising regarding those methodologies and other initiatives linked to the Green IT world. During this project, we had particular attention on to gather insights on barriers and potential levers existing to promote and to make the sector adopt green IT methodologies, in order to measure and to monitor their environmental impact related to specifically to ICT activities. Would it be services, goods, even at organization level, or even at a higher level, such as cities, projects, or even some methodologies are trying to aggregate at country level. So during this 3-year project, we identify some potential levers to that. And one of the key deliverables of the project is what we call the first recommendations for a policy roadmap on the adoption of green IT behaviors by the sectors. And we made a first set of propositions focusing on aspects related to methodologies and their implementation, and dedicated more to green ICT rather than ICT for green. So we were more focused during the project on really green ICT measures. And this final deliverable will be delivered to the European Commission as the final one of the final deliverables due to in the frame of the project. Those first recommendations are organized into 3 categories. The first one, so those 3 categories were set up regarding all the feedback that we gathered from the project and the analysis that we made of all the information we had during those 3 years. So the first one is the first axis for this proposition for policy roadmap is to go on increasing the awareness and knowledge on ICT environmental impacts. The second one, the main axis, is to try to convince ICT stakeholders of the benefits from reduced ICT impacts. And finally, the third axis is to try to facilitate the commitment to a greener ICT sector. I'm going to show you a little bit more in detail what you will be able to find in this deliverable. So regarding the first axis on the awareness, increasing the awareness on and knowledge on ICT environmental impacts, the idea of this, the first idea is to make awareness raising possible among targeted audience, and this is possible thanks to content available for general public and targeting private organizations, but also educationals, so a variety of different audiences. And this information should be used as educational material at all levels in order to make people aware of the environmental impacts of ICT activities, organizations, or projects, for example. lot of initiatives already exist, or some initiatives already exist on this. Trying to make awareness raising. ICTFOOTPRINT.eu, of course, is one of them, but other organizations are doing some studies and communications on the environmental impact of the sector, such as in France, we have the SHIFT project, who delivered and published a report publicly available for decisioners in order to make politicians and all decisioners aware of the environmental impact of the ICT activities. The Alliance Green IT is also providing a lot of content. They are doing a benchmark on the Green IT practices among SMEs, for example. The WWF organized and did also a benchmark on the Green IT solutions and the Green IT practices among SMEs. And we have several initiatives like that you can find on the ICTFOOTPRINT.eu platform. The second point regarding this first axis is to try to have adequate methodologies to encourage the assessment of environmental impacts. So what we could found during the project is that there is a need for convergence and consistency and complementarity between the different existing methodologies. And there is a need for new methodologies on specific targets or topics. For example, there is an initiative from the European Commission regarding the product environmental footprint, also known as PEF guide. So this is a general environmental footprint methodology, but this methodology can be declined for different type of products or services. And one of them already existing is concerning the data storage equipment. So this is more at product level, but there is also another aspect of the PEF initiative that concern organizations. So the idea would be to try to base or try to make some environmental footprint, existing environmental footprint methodologies converge to, for example, the requirements, the methodological requirements of the PEF guide. But there is also other standards, and such as the ETSI ES 203 and 199, who is giving some requirements for the performance of life cycle assessments on ICT goods, services, or related products and services. And you can also find on the ICTFOOTPRINT.eu methodologies map other methodologies, so at national level, European level, and existing methodologies. Finally, regarding this third axis, the last point we wanted to insert in our roadmap is that there is a need for increasing knowledge of impacts thanks to better data availability. For that, we thought about two scenarios for data that does not exist yet and data that are not collected or shared because, for example, when we are talking about traceability of waste flows, which is quite difficult to trace and to have robust data for that. And for regarding data availability, we are talking also about all the data that give you the opportunity to calculate the environmental footprint of your product, service, or even organizations regarding more background data such as libraries, which are data sets used to calculate, to translate an activity data, for example, the consumption of electricity, into environmental impacts. So today, it's quite difficult to access those data because the life cycle assessment methodology has been applied to the ICT sector quite recently, and there is a lack of background data of robust data sets regarding the ICT sector, would it be goods or services. So there is a need to develop and to support the development of such data. Regarding the second axis of our policy roadmap, which is convincing ICT stakeholders of benefits from reduced ICT impacts, we decline this axis into three main points. The first one is to support and to showcase quantified benefits. When potential benefits has been identified or quantified by any stakeholders of the ICT sector, it's really important to make it available to the public in order to make people aware that some solutions can provide really good benefits, environmental benefits, but also economic savings. Have this kind of showcasing can have also an impact on the image of company, for example. So it can also be used as marketing tool. But for that, what is important to keep in mind is that the information and the calculation, the figures that you use, if you use quantified measures, for example, has to be robust, sincere, and as possible based on recognized methodologies. The second point is to try to enhance the networking between stakeholders. So would it be at regional level, member state level, or even EU levels? For example, the ICT Footprint.eu project is one of the example of initiative in order to make people networking on the green ICT topic. We organize some webinars such as this one, or some events on green ICT different green ICT topics. And networking is very important in order to make all the good practices aware to the larger audience possible. And finally, regarding for convincing ICT stakeholder of the benefits from reduced ICT impacts, the promotion of the use of purchasing tools such as, for example, labels in purchasing activity can be a good starting point for companies, or would it be private companies or public organizations. And it's really important to try to introduce as far as possible some purchasing requirements into purchasing activity in order to make this subject really important for company at all levels. Finally, the third axis of this ICT roadmap concerns the facilitation, is trying to facilitate the commitment and actions to a more environmental friendly ICT sector. This can be done by developing green ICT strategies at member state level, but also EU level, and integrate it to digital strategies of companies or public organizations, for example. Some tools or some projects are trying to do this kind of integrations, such as there is a EU-funded project such as the Eureka project, which is focusing on data center and maturity of green IT practices into data centers. We have, as Rita was also explaining, we developed SAT-O, so it's a self-assessment tool for organizations, which is a tool, as Rita presented which allow you to assess, to have a first assessment of your ICT activities within your organization, environmental assessment. And other tool, and of course, there are other tools such as the code of conduct that can be used for data centers and other ICT activities that can be used as a basis to develop digital strategy, to put green IT requirements into digital strategies. In order to facilitate this commitment, there is also a need for turning providers into actors towards greener ICTs. So by using all these tools and make all the stakeholders communicating between them. For example, in the ICT Footprint.eu project, we develop a marketplace in which the idea is to register some suppliers of green IT services or products. And if you are looking for a solution as a user, you can enter in contact. You can contact those companies to know more about their solutions and implement it into your organizations, for example. There is also a need for continuous communication and training on the topics through various initiatives. And finally, there is a need for development of dedicated policy incentives, for example, on different topics such as reuse, eco-design, and through different tools such as regulation or even financial tools, in order to promote and to develop a more environmental friendly ICT sector. So basically, you have the skeleton of our policy roadmap. We will develop it into the final deliverable that we will deliver to the Commission. And I think, Rita, if I'm not mistaken, that this deliverable will be publicly available after the review by the Commission on the ICTFootprint.eu website.
Yeah, exactly, Frederick. First, we need to send a document to the European Commission, and as soon as the document is approved, we can make it available to all of you, and you can check it out and access the document. Indeed, yeah. So, Frederick, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Or
I think I'm done with the presentation, but I will be happy to answer your questions. I know that we have only a few minutes, but if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me by email, me or Rita, and Rita will forward me the questions.
Yeah, so we are all available to reply to your questions. So I'm just going to give 1 minute to the audience to write a question if they want to, while I actually can start. I can make a question actually. Since Frederick, Deloitte has been the main contributor to this document. So while you were doing your presentation, I was wondering, like you presented 3 main categories of recommendations. So do you think is there one category is more important to start with, or not exactly? What are your thoughts about this?
I think that if we consider the feedback that we have from the project, there is still a need for the first axis. I think awareness and knowledge, awareness raising and knowledge on ICT environmental impacts is very important, because on one hand, it concerns, of course, the ICT sector actors, but it concerns also everyone of us, because as ICT users, now everybody is an ICT user. We have to be really aware of those environmental impacts. And there is a lack of knowledge by the large public of environmental impact, for example, of data centers, of networks, and there is a lot of hidden impacts that the final user, does not see directly.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, thanks, Frederick, for your explanation. And I think before we close your presentation, we have a question from one of our attendees. His name is Olivier, and his question is, he's talking about slide 29, Frederick. So maybe you could go to that slide.
Sure.
29, yeah. So his question is, Okay, let's wait first for slide 29, 27.
Yes, sorry. Okay.
No worries. 29. Okay. So Olivia's question is about quantified benefits to demonstrate to enterprises what they should invest in green IT. Where can we find such examples with real numbers and euros and money?
So in the ICTFOOTPRINT.eu platform, you can find what we call the success stories. So basically, we ask some companies involved into green ICT project or green ICT who developed green ICT strategies. We ask them to provide us with some figures on their actions when they have quantified, for example, environmental benefits on climate change or even on other environmental impacts. So the first source is this one. So we have almost 30 or 40 success stories. So this is one of the possibilities that you have. But the idea is, of course, trying to incentive companies to communicate more on those figures on their website, on their CSR report, for example, and to make this information available to the public.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually put in the chat the link for the success stories that Frederick just mentioned. We have over 60 stories. They are organized by large companies, SMEs, public administrators, and we have a category for others, which maybe are not closely related to the previous ones I just indicated. So yeah, in these stories, as Frederick said, each story is organized by sections, and one of the sections is actually related to the benefits that those people who are involved in the story got and achieved thanks to green IT. I think so. Frederick, thank you very much for replying to this question and also for your presentation. If it will be okay, Frederick, we could close this webinar, and I ask you to go to the last slide.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so just let me. No worries. I will. Okay, I'm gonna show this last slide,
Yes.
which is a presentation. Okay. This is so, yeah, the webinar is finalized. I would like to thank you all for being with us in this webinar, and also in name of the ICT Footprint Consortium on behalf of Trust IT, Deloitte, Eurocities. We would like to thank for all those who have been following us since 3 years ago. We are very happy that we have you with us during these months. And the thing is, if you want to keep in touch with you, it's very easy. You can subscribe our newsletter. You can drop us an email. For those who are very keen on social media, we have Twitter and LinkedIn. And don't forget, we still have other 11 webinars already available in our YouTube account. And if you want to know more, just follow us on the website. Thank you very much, Frederick. Thank you very much, Bert, for being with us for this exciting webinar. I wish you a lovely afternoon, and let's keep in touch, and thank you all once again for being with us during these 36 months. We really appreciate that.
Thank you all.
Thank you.